Walking out there to the Wrangler, I was like, I don't think I own enough Yeti cups to drive a Wrangler. Then I saw it was electric, and I was like, I probably need a Barbie dream house to go with my Power Wheel now. So the last 10 days, it's been colder than your mother-in-law's stare at Christmas. All right, tell us about your 41 Ford.
It's for orange. How's my beard?
That is a big puddle of oil.
Oh, my word. You know it has oil.
Make sure you catch your trans fluid when you're changing out the Speedo gear so you can reuse it. Fluids are expensive these days. Welcome back to another...
Not ready.
I thought that's what we're supposed to do.
Not ready.
Welcome back to another week of Crossthread Garage and Salvage. I'm Steve, this is Caitlin, and the channel's dedicated to a dad, me, teaching her how to work on old trucks like the C10 that we've been working on for, I know, almost a year. And I know, I do, that I've told you twice now, it's done. This week though, we fixed a starter problem. It was overheating when we were driving it. So we've got the headers heat wrapped, we've got a heat shield installed on the starter. We're gonna fix a pesky little leak on the trans, where the Speedo cable goes in, where it just keeps pouring transmission fluid randomly on the floor. And we're going to align our steering. Now I've already done an alignment on the truck, tracks down the road perfectly straight, but the steering wheel is, it's about 11 o'clock. So we're gonna get that thing dialed back into noon and be all set. If you like what you guys see here this week, make sure to leave us a comment, like, share, hit that subscribe button, and tell a friend. We're grateful for you. Hope you had a great new year, and we're back in it and looking for an awesome year ahead. We're also gonna share a few of the upcoming projects with you this year, so, don't cut out early or anything. Those will be there. So we'll show you what we're working on in the new year, and then next week, and I do mean next week, we'll to show you a little bit about the wife's Fairlane. 62 Fairlane 500 that I got for free. Tell you how that worked next week on Crossthread Garage and Salvage. The 81 C10, the Cleveland Indians grounds crew pickup tribute vehicle, it's done. Except, of course, when you're dealing with an 81 square body Chevy, the question you always ask yourself, is it really done? And the answer, of course, Caitlin, is
No.
no, it's not ever really done. This week, though, we have been just running with sports again, and with the rain keeping us from being able to get this freshly painted truck out of the garage and get some other work done in here. And then we had a family funeral that we had to go to in Albuquerque this last week. And so we've just had a lot of things pulling us in a lot of different directions. So we haven't had a chance to just button up a few last minute things. I thought we were done with this C10, and I actually put about 60 or 70 miles of driving on it. But doing that driving made me aware of a few things I didn't already know about. So we're going to fix those.
Driving.
We're going to fix those today. Yes, there was a little lack of driving at one point.
Looks like somebody put a
We had a
right here.
starter problem. You probably saw that in the last video that we did on the C10, but it persisted. Caitlin, let's get this truck back up in its natural stance, which of course is on jack stands. So you know where to begin, right?
Yep, get the jack right in the middle of the oil pan.
You got to teach them when they're young. And you can be sure if you train up a child in the way they should go, they're never going to depart from it.
Yeah.
Yawn with a roar. What we're going to do first, guys, is align the steering wheel. We did a driveway alignment on this truck. We're just using a tape measure. Only issue is the steering wheel's cocked. So we're going to get the steering wheel. Smell like Takis. We're going to get the steering wheel straightened up, and then just go ahead and grab the tie rod ends here and move the wheels back that way so that we can get the steering wheel. Or are we moving the wheels this way?
Doesn't look too cocky to me.
So if going down the road, it's cocked this way a little bit, I want to
you're gonna drive this way.
bring the wheel back this way, which is going to turn the wheels that way, which means I need to bring the wheels back this way with the tie rod ends. Yeah, like a turn and a half this way on both of them. Let's do that real quick.
Okay.
Oh,
Like,
what in the world? That is a big puddle of oil. I swear, this thing leaks like a wicker basket in a hurricane.
Oh my word. We know it has oil.
What did you just say?
At least we know it had oil.
Oh my word. See, guys, off camera here, I just said, hey, troubleshooting wiring, figuring out why when I tap the brake lights, when I tap the brakes, all the turn signals come on solid. Like, that kind of stuff's not fun. It doesn't make for good content.
Actually, a funny reason why that happens.
Yeah, actually, if you're driving an old square body and your truck is doing that, you hit the brakes and all your blinkers light up, check your caution lights. If you have your caution lights activated, but your blinker relay for the caution lights is no good, it'll actually power all the lights on solid, which is a cool trick. Anyways, Caitlin's uncle, my mechanic-in-law, was in town last week. And so, he's a certified GM mechanic. He's got enough patches to make a quilt. So, anyways, he was in town over the holidays, and I was like, hey, come on over to the shop and we'll troubleshoot this thing. So we got it figured out. We got a brake line sorted out, which, by the way, of course, when you start working on a collapsed flexible brake line on a 42-year-old truck, it escalates real quick. So yeah, we went all the way from new caliper back up to the master cylinder. That was a bummer, but I didn't think it was going to turn into a big project, so I wasn't recording it. So we've got a little bit of work done on this, including fixing what I thought was fixing the trans leak on this truck. Apparently, by evidence of the 2.5 quarts of transmission fluid that's on the ground, I did not get that fixed. So
You don't say.
we'll do that today. All right, tie rods and alignment. Let's do it. All right, Caitlin's gonna loosen this passenger side tie rod end. We're gonna spin it 1.5 turns to bring this wheel in, and then we're gonna go over there to the driver's side, loosen it, spin it 1.5 turns to drive that wheel out, and it should straighten up. So right now you can see the toe on this is out, so the front is out further than the rear of the tire. You can see that.
This spinning?
Nope. Yes, that's spinning. Okay, so I can't remember which way is in. Yeah, this should bring it in. Okay, that's one turn. We're gonna go 1/2 turn and you're gonna tighten it back there. So go ahead. Go ahead and tighten those.
Is it that one?
This one and that one.
That's horny. See what's turning.
Your elbow's in the shot here.
Oh, maybe I'll be an elbow model.
Probably not with it covered up by a black sleeve.
The massive bruise on my elbow anyways.
You got elbow bruises from? Oh, from that girl's jaw the other night in the basketball game?
Maybe.
Yeah, let me just make sure these are tight. Because I feel like they're like Caitlin tight, but we would need to make sure they're like insurance would pay for it tight.
Like
we didn't.
Ow, when I clean my room and Mom's like, is this me approved, not you approved?
Yes, exactly like that. Okay, other side. No, you probably can't still spin
Ow,
it.
is my eye. Is that a magnet taped onto the light? I can see my breath.
Wait.
Just kidding.
Roll out of there and let me just double check it.
You see me rolling.
Guys, we've done the whole front suspension on this. We dropped this front suspension 5 inches. We dropped the rear suspension 7 inches. We put in brand new tie rod ends, ball joints, spindles, drag link, idler arm, pitman arm, new steering gearbox, new sway bar bushings, new brakes for half of the front brake assemblies. We've done everything to this suspension. Put new shocks on it, new wheels and tires. If you guys missed any of that, you can go back and check it out in our old episodes. When I wasn't thinking we would have enough content for this, I went ahead and troubleshot the starter problem that we had in the last episode when we were left stranded on the side of the road. The problem was, I thought that the starter was loose, which it was. It was hanging there loose. But as I kept driving the truck over the next couple of weeks, I'd go out to start it and it would randomly just grind and spin. I got down there and the front lip of the flywheel was polished where the starter was coming out and spinning it, but it wasn't engaging the teeth. So I pulled the starter and the Bendix and like it was weird. The housing for the solenoid was almost separated. So for $70 for a reman starter, I just replaced the starter. You guys missed that, but here's the good news. Replacing a starter is 2 bolts down, 2 bolts up. It's super simple. Now I'm having a problem where if I drive the truck for more than 30 minutes, turn it off and try and restart it, it acts like the battery is dead. And that is indicative of a hot starter. So a hot starter problem, Caitlin, is very common with small block Chevys and long tube headers because the headers come right over top of the starter solenoid and it gets it so hot that it doesn't want to conduct electricity the way it's supposed to. That's what happens with hot conductors of electricity.
I'm stupid, you're smart.
You do that and I'll answer my phone. See who's calling me. Hello, you're on Crossthread Garage and Salvage. Over 60 pounds.
Looks like my hair.
Probably both over 30 pounds. I think Trigger's 35 pounds. Raya's probably 45 pounds.
Can't be the only one curious to see if it's actually fire resistant. I mean, for the most part.
That's pretty good. Okay, so this is the problem we're dealing with over here. These headers come in right over top of that starter. You can see the starter solenoid right down there. So we're gonna heat wrap this area here, and we're gonna put a heat shield that I got from eBay that's made for Chevy small block starters. Okay, so that's enough with that. We're gonna throw that heat shield on there, and that's actually a baffled heat shield. See, it's a double layer there. So that baffled heat shield probably will be enough, but we're gonna throw that stuff on just in case, because I don't wanna have to crawl down there again. And because this truck's going up for sale pretty soon, I don't want the next guy having to deal with it. Or calling me saying, hey man, my truck won't start. And I really don't wanna have to say, hey man, not my problem anymore. I'm gonna have to figure that out today too. But before we do that, we're gonna grab the starter out of here. So been driving it enough to put some road grime on it. You know, really get that nice custom paint job that we put on it messed up. Yep, it's a 14. All right, give me a socket wrench and an extension.
How long of an extension?
Doesn't matter. That's good. Yeah. You know what, Caitlin, before I pull this off here, go ahead and disconnect the ground cable on the battery. So we don't end up welding a starter to a frame or something.
Which one is that?
It's the black one.
They're both black.
Okay, so it's the one where the battery says negative, not positive.
Okay, I'm just making sure. How do I get it off?
You guys use black cables for all your battery cables, right? For some reason, after I changed the starter, my gas gauge quit working. And I think there's a couple of fusible links. There's a couple of fusible links right up here, Caitlin, these red ones. And I'm pretty sure they used it as a, why are you putting your finger in the lens? Pretty sure they used it as a power distribution block. And I'm thinking we may have, sometimes those fusible links are made to be burned up instead of putting a fuse in. I'm thinking it may have been weak and we may have broken that wire by moving it around. And if we did that, we're gonna have to fix it so we can get power back up there. It might also be why, look, coming down. That's heavy. Might also be why the dash lights don't work. So we're gonna, I bought this on eBay and I don't know how it goes on here. But does that, those don't even line up. It's gotta cover the solenoid part of it. Let's put here.
Those match?
Yeah, those match. And then this one
And that looks
goes up here on this one. All right, give me a 10 millimeter box end wrench.
Boxing. Oxen.
Erwin, what is the plural for ox? Oxen. Brian, what's the plural for box? Boxen.
So this is awesome because it's just close enough to rattle on it when you don't want it to. Okay, so we've got this heat wrap and we've soaked it. Got it all wet, the whole thing. Just quit pulling strings out of it. Cut those off. We've soaked it, and that way it can shrink as it dries. Is that the way it works? Yeah, shrink as it dries. So we're actually only going to be wrapping these front two header tubes, probably just below the frame, so they're not like, it's not visible up here. I do like the look of wrapped headers on like exposed, headers like on a hot rod that doesn't have a hood or something. But there's no need for it here. We're not going for the aesthetic here. We're looking for the practicality. So we're gonna wrap it with a wet roll and use these metal, they're not zip ties, I don't know what you call them, straps. They work like a zip tie. You take this end, feed it through there, and it locks in. So you're probably gonna have to get in here.
Under. Oh, in there.
Yes. And I'll get underneath it and we'll wrap it around.
Hold on, that friend needs to go in first.
All right, so we're doing my absolutely least favorite thing in the world to do. That is lay on the ground on my back. Kaylin, actually hand me the roll.
Oh,
I think I'm gonna feed it up to you.
that light is in my eyeball.
If I'm not careful, I'm gonna put my head right in this transmission fluid. That's usually your move.
That's what I'm saying.
Kaylin, can you reach down through there and grab?
Where?
Do this one.
Oh, look, there's more than one dipstick in this truck.
Kaylin, you're
What?
dropping transmission fluid on me. Quit doing that.
I'm so funny.
But this is gonna make for riveting television. Great content, Steve.
Good, great, grand, wonderful.
Love what you're doing with zip ties and Kevlar wrap. So inspiring. Did you see we're finally getting a good Mexican restaurant in town?
Oh, Taco Bell?
Yep, the new Taco Bell coming to town. Now, I get it. Some of you are starting to think that maybe this old C10 here is about as reliable as the weatherman. And I'm just going to tell you, if that's the case, I'm okay with it, because the weatherman here predicted a big snowstorm this morning, and guess what happened? Yeah, we got like 6 inches of snow since, I don't know, 2 a.m. this morning. They canceled school like 6 hours before the first snowflake fell. Really gambling on that guy being reliable. And I gotta tell you, when I'm driving this C10, it feels that way sometimes. I'm just gambling, but we're fixing that today. So we're putting the new starter back in. We're fixing the trans leak, the little bullet insert that holds the gear for the Turbo 350 trans for the speedo cable that comes out of the driver's side. That thing's been leaking, and I think it's been leaking past the internal seal. So we're gonna be replacing that today. And then we're also gonna be fixing some fusible link from the distribution post on the starter. So when we went to buy this thing, this truck was in a dark garage, and the battery cables, the positive and the negative, are both black. And the battery post I had was negative this side, positive this side, and it was a dark garage, and so threw the posts on, and it started smoking from down here. So I grabbed the post off and looked at it, realized that we'd put, positive, negative, negative, positive. Well, everything seemed to work the whole time we've been working on it, but grabbing that starter and pulling it down out of there 3 or 4 times, trying to shim it, replacing it, all the stuff we've done with it, I think what we had was a weak fusible link there that had partially burned, and manipulating those wires coming off and on that post probably broke one of those wires. And as I got to looking at it, one of them, the sheathing is completely burned off of it. So We're gonna pull the wiring back out. The wiring from the starter comes up through right there in front of the fuel pump. So we're gonna actually just pull that back, cut it, replace it, feed it back through there, and hang that starter back there today. So I mentioned schools can cancel today. Caitlin's inside grabbing herself a sweatshirt. She'll be out here in a minute, I hope. And we'll be diving into this thing here in just a few hours. We're gonna have this thing buttoned back up, put back together, ready to list for sale, which is awesome. So don't go anywhere. Lots of work to do today. It's snowing out here today. Caitlin, is that sweatshirt warm? Yeah. Listen, I know that for most of the US, the last 10 days, it's been colder than your mother-in-law's stare at Christmas, but it may be time for you to pick up a nice warm sweatshirt. You know what I'm talking about. Grab yourself a Crossthread Garage and Salvage sweatshirt, either a sweatshirt or a hoodie, or as Caitlin calls it, a crew neck. It's a sweatshirt. This is a hoodie. That's a sweatshirt. But, you know, if you're younger than 25, grab yourself a crew neck or a hoodie. At CrossthreadGarageandSalvage.com, every dollar from the merchandise sales, in fact, every dollar we make on this channel and on the projects here is going to go to fund Caitlin, not me. I'm not making a dime on this. So you guys can be the proud sponsors of today's episode. If you go buy yourself a hoodie or a hat or some stickers, we got some t-shirts left over. I thought while it wasn't raining right this very minute though, we would do a quick walk down here, take a look at some of our upcoming projects for 2024. So this is our 1950 Rio. We got big plans for this. It's a E22 powered by an inline 6-cylinder Gold Comet. It is rusty, not so rusty, and really, actually pretty good right there. Yeah, not bad. So, what do you,
So cold.
are you cold?
Yeah.
It's brisk, but you know, it's not as bad as the blizzard we were in Colorado this last weekend. Yeah, it was cold. We did, you know, what people do when they rent a Jeep. Although we rented an hybrid electric Jeep. So, you know, walking out there to the Wrangler, I was like, I don't think I own enough Yeti cups to drive a Wrangler. Then I saw it was electric and I was like, I probably need a Barbie dream house to go with my Power Wheel now. So I'm excited about restoring the Rio. Caitlin's excited about restoring the air horns.
Yep.
Or how about
the
this?
door?
Yes, and then you can hold, ooh man. The Gold Comet Inline 6 was like an amazing motor of the day. It also went in a bunch of the, I think there were 6x6s that they made for the Army. What are they called, M35s or
My knees
something?
are shivering right now.
Anyways, good reliable inline 6 that I don't think we're going to use. We're probably going to go ahead and cab swap this one like we did on the Cummins, and you're going to see that in a second. The Cummins, the Cummins powered Chevy. This thing is definitely made for like a cab swap onto maybe a late 90s F800
So cool.
Cummins and a Eaton 6-speed. That's what I'm thinking anyways. You guys tell me what you think. Caitlin just wants to get out of the cold. She doesn't have an opinion at this point. She does, however, have an opinion about this. All right, tell us about your 41 Ford.
It's orange.
It's orange and it's awesome. And it happens to be locked up both at the door and the motor, tighter than a Bluetooth headset section at a Love's truck stop. We pulled this thing out of the weeds in Colorado this last year. Caitlin bought it a couple years ago when she sold her goat herd. Bought it from our neighbor. It had been parked behind his house since 1975. He drove it in there, parked it, let it set, and here we have it.
It's parked.
But we can tell from the data plate that's here on the glove box, which I didn't think that Ford did this until like the Bronco era, but they were doing it on the 40s trucks. This is purpose-built for the Civilian Conservation Corps, which was the post-Depression era works project program from the government. This thing probably spent its whole life in Colorado. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
You didn't forget about that. I found that.
No, I know, you told me, and then I forgot about it. That's what forgetting is. It's when you know something and then you forgot you know something. Oh, see, you can forget, but I can't forget.
Yes.
which is why it's basically rust-free. Now, yeah, it's had a little bit of road damage and other things, but it's been fixed. You can see the rivet work there is really impeccable. Anyways, we got a little bit of rust here in the cab corners. That's about all the rust that's on this thing. Very clean. We're definitely going to keep the patina on this. You want to go inside now? Oh, hey, Marty. Marty. Marty, cover yourself up, man. Have a little respect.
Hey, you know who Stan Lee is?
Stanley?
Yeah, Stan Lee.
Like Stan Lee, yeah. The Marvel guy, the Marvel Comics, whatever writer.
Yeah. I saw him in Panera Bread the other day.
Caitlin, Stan Lee has been dead for like several years. I don't know who you saw, but
I took a picture.
you're gonna have to show me. Get your phone out and show me. Picture of Stan Lee. That does look like Stan Lee. Okay, confirmed. You heard it here first, folks. Stan Lee is alive and likes to eat at the Panera Bread. Okay. All right, well, Caitlin's 41 Ford has a flathead V8 in it that we are going to be rebuilding this year. So
This freeze.
if you haven't subscribed yet, camera
It froze.
is up here. That's not froze. That's dried clear coat that was in the air from when we sprayed this last. Yeah, it's dried clear coat. So if you haven't subscribed yet, tell them what to do, Caitlin.
Subscribe.
Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for all the projects that we're looking forward to in 2024. The 50 Rio, the 41 Ford, and we're going to be working on the 47 Chummins. Now, this one does run and drive, and you heard me right. It's a Chummins. It's a Chummins because it's
Chubby.
not chubby. It's a Chummins because it's a Cummins-powered Chevy truck. Chevy truck? Yeah. Chevy truck. It's a 47 Chevy. It's the first of the advanced design body builds. They went through 54. 54 was a 1 year only front clip and windshield. So a lot of people say 47 to 53, but it's 47 to 54. And just for fun, we'll grab the hood here. Show you what we're working with. So that's a first gen 12 valve Cummins 5.9 6BT. It's out of a 1990 Dodge. So it's a non-intercooled truck. What do you got? Taquitos there?
Takis.
Takis? Yeah. You just bring a bag of Takis with you everywhere you go?
Yeah.
Okay. So this was a 2-week build. I basically cab swapped the 47 body and bed onto a 1990 chassis. So, yeah. So there's actually quite a bit of work left to do on this. You know, like putting a battery back in the battery box.
Which was the old gas tank.
It was the old fuel tank, that's true. So anyways, cut the bed down. That was 12 foot long, 8 foot wide. I just sectioned it in all 4 corners, pulled the metal apart, cut the wood back, used the like 5 feet I took out of the length to make myself a mitered box here for my insert for my gooseneck hitch that's still underneath there. Cut down the headache rack, polished up the original paint, you know, made it my own. Everybody needs a barrel for a trans tunnel and a boot for a boot. And of course the Ram hood emblem off the Dodge for the shifter. So we got to put some gauges in here. I got a new aluminum radiator that's going to go in there this year. And I saw a really 8-ball on the steering wheel.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I saw a really neat trick from another guy on YouTube. I can't remember what channel it was now, but he basically, off this core support here, which this one's custom, that's not original, but he built a forward-leaning hood hinge that allowed you to pick that hood up and put it down. And I didn't like the old hood style because it only got up like this high. It wouldn't get up high enough to actually work in there. So I made it removable with some pins that go through the cowl. But I'd really like to get it on a hinge here and lean that hood forward and let it stand straight up. So that's all on the docket for the 47 Cummins.
Oh, I see.
We got oil seeping around this rear seal. Or do we? Maybe it's all coming from there. Could be running down here.
But, okay, you do you.
I don't know. That seal doesn't, I guess it does kind of look wet. but it's definitely coming out of this. Okay, so Caitlin is grabbing the Speedo bullet out from under the truck there. Pull that drain pan out of there before you dive under there to get that bullet off the end of that cable. So I'll show you guys a quick pro tip here. Make sure you catch your trans fluid when you're changing out the Speedo gear, so you can reuse it, because you don't want that quart and a half that comes out of there to go to waste. So make sure, yeah, that's blind. Ah, Caitlin. In the face. So make sure you catch it so you can reuse it, because boy, fluids are expensive these days. Well, it's like any other threaded thing. It turns the right way. Okay, while Caitlin's grabbing that, let me show you what I'm dealing with here. So I thought at first the fluid was probably passing this O-ring on the bullet, but after some closer inspection, I think the internal seal here is actually the problem. So this gear drive goes through here. And you hear it snap like that? That's got a good tight seal. And I think that was, the fluid was passing up the drive shaft, past that internal seal, through this threaded part, and it was just leaking all over the ground. So when she gets that other bullet out of there, this is the new one. We'll compare that snap there and see if it's what makes the difference. Okay, so we've got both here, and you can actually see the difference. You see how worn out? Let's see, where's the ring? You see how worn out that is? There's like a very thin black seal left in there compared to that one. That's the new one. So this is the way the old shaft goes in. Just slides in there. There's no snap, no seal. Spins very freely. The new one goes in. Listen. Nice. I think that's going to solve our problem. What are you doing, Caitlin? She's learning. She's watching. Okay, so these are the 3 wires that have, actually this is a power wire from the ignition. These 2 fusible links here go up and join 3 wires. You see this one is like totally stripped. There's no sheathing on that at all. That's a power wire, which means if it's touching metal, it's grounding out, which means the power is not getting where it needs to go. So I think this actually might be our problem. This electrical work is so boring on YouTube, guys. I'm not going to show you what we're doing, but we're using shrink connectors and a butane torch to just get everything connected and cleaned up. So we're going to have to get some brake clean all the oil off of this, cut, strip, connect, and run back through over this cross member, and we'll be ready to throw that starter up there. Okay? Okay. All right, let's do it. All right, we got the wires on the back of the starter here, hooked up to the solenoid. All right, it's sitting on a can and a little tire repair kit here, just so we don't have to wear a shoulder out. So, Caitlin, can you lift that off of there and put it up? You see where these 2. Here, I'm gonna have to go up and over. Can you get them in where they need to go?
I'm not sure that's it.
That one's definitely not in. I'm guessing that one didn't thread in.
I don't know where the holes are.
You can't drop it now.
I have it.
Hold on, let me answer my phone.
Oh my days.
Just kidding. No, I have to answer this. This is like not that hard. I don't know why you're having so much trouble with this. Replacing a starter is 2 bolts down, 2 bolts up. Super simple. Pick the starter up so that it's loose. Pick it all the way up. There you go. This is the dumbest way to do this. Pick the starter up so it's not binding on it.
Get up.
There you go. Okay. All right, now it's time to turn the key, see if our fuel gauge works again. Fingers crossed on that, and see if it starts. I don't know. Step 1, connect battery. Cold start, clear. Yes. Fuel gauge isn't working, but that's maybe a problem for another day. All right. Well, Caitlin? Yes. Fuel gauge didn't move. It actually might be working. It might, no, because I filled it up. Fuel gauge is not working. Headers are heat wrapped. Starter has heat shield on it. Replaced fusible links that I thought were burned up, at least were exposed for sure, and probably grounding out on the cross member. Transmission leak fixed. And what else did we do this week? Boy, seems like we did a lot more than that in the last 22 days. Yeah. But as I've already explained, we've had our setbacks. So thanks for watching. We'll see you back here next week. And I mean next week, because I've already got next week's video planned and sorted, and we are ready to go. It'll be simple. Tune back in next week, and we're going to get the old Fairlane out of the garage and get this place cleaned up and looking like it's a real shop again. So you have something right there.